Hi everybody, my name is Mike Garska. I'm the president and founder of findamentor.com. From the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for joining our Epic Mentor Network or for signing up for daily Mastermind Group inspirational emails. Either way, we want to inspire you to move to that next level of success in your life, whatever that means for you. In our Epic Mentor Network, we want to educate you to know what you need to know so that you can succeed in your life. We want to propel you to serve and to achieve, because it is through service that we achieve. It is through service that we attract wealth. We want to inspire you to act, because it's blocked action that blocks success. We want to inspire you to do it now, because doing it now is a key element in time management. We want to communicate some great thoughts, emotions, and intentions that will inspire you to act, to educate yourself, to know what you need to know. We want to transfer those thoughts, emotions, and intentions that helped us succeed in that area of life as a mentor, so that you can invoke those same thoughts, emotions, and intentions to help you succeed. People at findamentor.com are telling us through our surveys that they are here for two reasons primarily. One is they want to learn success guidance. They want to get guidance in their success journey. Many people are telling us that they feel like they're starting over. So we want to give you the tools that you can use to take you to that next stage of life. In this video, I'm going to share with you one of my stories of starting over. I'm going to share with you the secret, which I call the master key to riches, which I think, and you may have heard it already, but I still think it's the most important success principle that I've ever learned in my life, and it has guided me to different levels of success throughout my life. I'm going to share with you the HIP, the human interaction process, that process that we are in all day long as humans, as we interact with the world around us, with other people, and with ourselves. I use the HIP, the human interaction process, to help me navigate crucial conversations and difficult situations. I use it as a coaching tool to help people become great communicators. I use it as a tool to help me mediate tough circumstances and situations for clients. Today, or in this series of videos, I'll share how to use the human interaction process in conjunction with the master key to riches, the secret to achievement and success, to open doors to opportunity. And when we open doors to disappointment, I'll share a concept of how to turn that disappointment or that adversity into a seed of equivalent or greater benefit, to move from struggle to opportunity to success, the SOS. I'll share a couple of do's and a couple of don'ts, and I'll share the 4-win intention principle. In the next videos, I'll give you a 9-step process to help you take advantage of the master key to riches, the secret to achievement. When I was 28 years old, I got fired from a job. I was extremely devastated and very angry, actually. About a year earlier, I had been lured by this company to go to work for them, to open a branch in Alberta to sell industrial fasteners to the construction industry, the oil field industry, and the gas plant industry. I had been working for 8 years in industrial sales, and I had an extremely good contact base of purchasers. I had very strong relationships with all of my business colleagues, and this company knew of me, and they wanted me to come and start a branch for them. They lured me away from a great job. I was sales manager of an industrial rental company. We had an aviation division. I had access to the corporate plane to make my out-of-town sales calls. I was at home most nights with my children. It was a great job. But these people lured me away by offering ownership. If I hit all the targets in the first year for the branch, they would give me part ownership was the deal. I was excited. After 8 months, we hit all the targets and exceeded them. I was thrilled. I was going to become the owner of a company. 2 days later, the owner flew into town, invited me up to his hotel room. I was excited. I thought I was going to get the congratulatory handshake. Instead, he fired me. I was devastated. I hit all the targets. I quit a great job to come here. I was going to get ownership, and now I found myself unemployed. I was angry. He asked for his company car back. I said, "You're not getting your company car back until I get 4 months severance pay. You promised me ownership after a 12-month contract. I hit your annual target 4 months ahead of schedule. You pay me out for the first year, or I'm keeping the car." So the next morning, he had a check ready for me. I took the check and gave him his car back. That helped a little bit with the devastation. I had learned from Napoleon Hill's books earlier that in every adversity, in every defeat, in every failure, we can find a seed of equivalent or greater benefit and plant it and grow it and learn from the situation. And so that's exactly what I did. The first benefit that I realized out of being fired was that I decided to take 3 months off. I had 4 months pay. So I did that. I took the 3 months off. Spent time all day with my kids. We played, we had fun. I went on a couple of job applications. Nothing really fit for me, so I turned down a couple of jobs actually. Then after 3 months, I was getting a little bit antsy. I wanted to get back to work. And I'd learned a couple things. I learned, one, that the number one way to financial independence was through self-employment. So I thought to myself, I'd love to start my own company. The other thing that I realized, that I learned, that when I'm doing well, selling for other businesses and meeting customer needs and doing well in my jobs, I'm actually making the owner a ton of money. I was tired of making Buddy a ton of money. I wanted to start to make the extra money for myself, not only my paycheck, but build some equity in a company. So I was determined to start my own business. I had 8 years of industrial sales and sales management experience. I had done everything in an industrial company, from shipping, receiving, to purchasing, to order desk, to receptionist, to sales coordinator, to salesperson, to sales management. I knew the process of business. And I had a great contact base. I had contacts in construction companies and refineries and gas plants and in all industry in Alberta. So I was set. I was convinced I could do it. But I had no money. We had made a decision as a young family that we were going to have a parent be at home as the primary influence on our children until they hit school, where we lost influence to teachers and peers. But instead of using daycare, we wanted a parent home. So we decided to make some sacrifices, live on one income. And I had a healthy income, but it didn't allow for a lot of extras supporting 4 people. So I had to find a way to start a business with 0 money down. I phoned up one of my business mentors. He was a guy that I had worked for before. He knew me well. He knew my abilities. He knew my skills. He knew my contacts. He had been fired from a job and started his own company. What a better mentor to have to start a business. So I went and we had lunch with Jim and explained to him my intentions and my goals and what I wanted to do. By the end of the meeting, he actually offered me a contract through self-employment. I could be self-employed and I could represent his company's equipment lines and equipment services to construction companies and oil field industry. And I was in business for myself after one meeting. But that wasn't quite enough for me to feel comfortable starting my business. I wanted to portray a professional image. I had been used to getting a new luxury company car every 2 years, and I wanted to portray that same image. I'd given my last car back, so all we had was our old jalopy that my wife used to get around town, to get groceries and to drive the kids, but it wasn't quite the car and the image that I wanted to portray of professionalism to my customers. So I decided to call a vehicle leasing company. They leased every make and model, and my approach was, if they lease every make and model, then as I'm making sales calls to these companies, it's the same guy that buys the equipment that does the vehicle leasing. If I make a deal with these guys, maybe they'll give me a free vehicle and I can represent both companies. So I approached the manager of the company. He thought it was a great idea. He liked my resume. He believed in me, but he wouldn't give me a free car. He did agree to lease me a car at his dealer cost at a very low price. And so the guarantee that that the equipment company offered me would cover my expenses. The equipment company offered me a guarantee that was $800 a month. The car was only $400 a month. So I was in business. I had the professional image, I had the client base, I had the equipment lines. I needed one more thing. I needed to have a communications tool. And cell phones were brand new. It was the 80s. They were just in Alberta for about 8 months. They were $3,000 to buy and about $300 a month to operate. It was a lot more than what I wanted to spend on having a professional image and an effective communications tool, but I do believe that I needed it, or I did believe that I needed it. So I did the same thing. There was 4 cell phone stores in town at the time. I phoned one of them. I said, look, I'm calling on construction companies. I'm selling vehicle leases and construction equipment. I said, it's the same buyer buys the cell phones as buys the equipment and the cars. If you give me a free phone and a free line, I'll represent your company at the same time. Here's my resume. I've got all these contacts. I've got all this experience. The guy thought it was a good idea. He wouldn't give me a phone, but he agreed to set me up as a dealer, sell it to me at dealer pricing. He gave me a free demo line so I didn't have to pay for my phone line or my phone calls. The phone was $2,500 dealer cost and $3,000 to sell to a company. So he sold my phone at dealer price to the car leasing company that I was leasing my car. They included in my lease price, and I was still under $500 a month with an $800 income or revenue stream. I was in business with positive cash flow before I started, and I didn't put a penny down. I actually put my first business cards on a credit card and I started making sales calls. Within 9 months, it was very clear that the most lucrative opportunity was in cell phones. I had leased vehicles, I had leased and sold equipment. So both of those contracts were fulfilled. The managers and owner of those companies were happy that I had exceeded their expectations for revenues and return on investment. So when I dropped the lines, they were both wished me luck and had no ill feelings that I wasn't going to be representing them anymore. And I focused on cell phones. And over the next 9 years, I went from the trunk of my car to 3 stores and $3 million in annual revenue. I hope that that story can inspire you to think outside the box, find ways to start a business from zero. And if starting a business is not in your interest, then I want to share a very important thing that I learned at a very young age, and that propelled me to different levels of success with many different companies. I was sales manager of an industrial rental company at 26 years old with full access to the company plane, an expense account, and company car. At 18, I got my first company car working for a company, all because one of the principles that I learned was that the number one rule to success, this comes from Og Mandino, is to go another mile. Do more than is expected of you in everything that you do. It's not always recognized by your boss, but it's recognized by someone. So whatever you're doing, do more than is expected of you. It's the number one rule of success that will propel you up that corporate ladder if that's what you're wanting to do. It also gives you peace of mind because you know in your heart that you've always done more than is expected of you, and so you are getting paid fairly for what you're doing. And as you do more than is expected of you, you will get paid more. So the number one rule of success is to go another mile. And it's going the other mile that gave me the confidence and the ability and the contact list and all that kind of stuff to start my own business. So get in the habit of going the other mile. Before I share the secret, I want you to avoid doing one thing, because I'm pretty sure that the secret's no longer a secret and you've probably already heard it already. But one of the things that humans do when we're listening to people talking about motivating ourselves, we make the mistake of saying to ourselves, oh, I know that already. And then after we say that, we choose to do nothing. I've taken, because it's happened to me many times, I'm sitting in an audience and I'm listening to somebody speak and I say to myself, oh, I know that already. But I now take that as a hint that if I'm hearing it again, it's because I need to act in some way to another level. So as you go through this video and through my other videos and through any other people's videos, when you come to that point where you say to yourself, I know this already, take it as a hint that you need to act at another level. The secret, the master key to riches, is whatever the human mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. I know that it's simple and it's rhetoric, but the rhetoric is the most important truth that I have ever heard. Conception happens with thought. Belief happens with heart, with emotion. Thought and emotion come together in intention, and it's through intention we choose to act in some way. Whatever we can conceive and believe, we can achieve. Claude Bristol wrote about it in The Magic of Believing. Joseph Murphy wrote about it in Your Infinite Power to Be Rich. Napoleon Hill wrote about it in every book that he wrote, The Master Key to Riches, Think and Grow Rich with Peace of Mind. The Secret, the movie, shared the same principles. What we think about, we bring about. What we feel about, we bring about. How we intend, we bring about. If you want to open doors to success, you have to align your thoughts, your emotions, your intentions, and your actions with success principles. You do have a choice. We all have a choice. Humans have one of the greatest gifts on earth. It's called the power of choice. And choice happens first with thought. And it is through thought, through the discipline of how we think, through the discipline of which way we want to look at life. We can look at life half full, we can look at it half empty. But it starts with thought. And through the thought, we can control the emotion. And once the thought and the emotion is controlled, the intention is controlled. And through that, the action is controlled. So take control of your thoughts, your emotions, your intentions, and your actions. I want to share the next important concept that I learned in my life. And that is called the human interaction process. And this fits perfectly into the Master Key to Riches and The Secret. We go through a process each and every day, all day long. Whether we're interacting just with ourselves, or we're interacting with the world around us and nature, or we're interacting with other humans. What we're doing all day long is that we're sensing things. One of our 5 senses is always working. We're either hearing, seeing, smelling, tasting, or touching something. And from that sense, a thought or a perception is triggered in our minds. From the thought and the perception, an emotion is triggered. Now, some people think the emotion comes before the thought. Other people think the thought comes before the emotion. Some think they come at the same time. I think it depends on the experience. Sometimes an event will trigger an emotion, which triggers a thought pattern. Other times, an event will trigger a thought pattern, which triggers an emotion. But the point is, they both happen after the sensing. Often we're not aware that we are feeling. As humans, we're aware of our thoughts all the time, but we're often not aware of our feelings. They are still happening. Sometimes they're very subtle, but there's always an emotion. And from the thought and the emotion, we derive an intention, and from the intention, we choose action. And sometimes the action is silence or doing nothing. Other times the action is reaching out. Other times the reaction is speaking words. And don't fall into that myth that actions are louder than words, because speaking words is an action that is just as important as any other action. And the words we speak affect our success levels all the time. So before you choose to speak your words, think clearly about what your thoughts, your emotions, and your intentions are. As I go through life, I want to take control of the Master Key to Riches. So when I'm sensing things, I want to slow the process down. I want to get real clear and identify what I just sensed, whether I heard it, saw it, or smelled or touched or tasted. But most often it's about seeing and hearing. Then I want to take control of how I'm going to look at this, how I'm going to perceive it. And I can look at it both ways, negative or positive. And then I want to take control of how I'm going to feel about it. I want to invoke positive emotions. Norman Vincent Peale wrote about the power of positive thinking. I'm sure you've heard about thinking positive, being positive. It has to go to the next level of feeling positive as well. We need the combination of feeling and thinking to get that right intention, so that we can act in the right way. The Master Key to Riches happens through our HIP, our human interaction process, through our sensing, thinking, feeling, acting, and intending. How are you going to dance with life? Are you going to dance with life with positive thought, positive emotion, positive intention, win, 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 and positive action? Or are you going to dance with life with doubt, with fear, with discouragement? It's not easy to pull ourselves out of those negative feelings, out of those negative thought processes, but it is possible. It takes discipline. It takes determination. It takes patience. Patience is a great emotion. And one of the best emotions to take us out of negativity is gratitude. There is always something to be grateful for. Find out those things you like about yourself, your life, the people around you, and get in touch with those if you're feeling negative. It's often the easiest way to come out of negativity is through gratitude, and then we can slowly shift into the confidence and the belief and the perseverance and the joy and all the positive emotions. But we need to take advantage of the Master Key to Riches by thinking, feeling, intending, and acting in a positive manner. You and I can do that. You can do that. You just have to start. 2 things I want you to remember. Use your hip to turn adversity into benefit. Look for the seed of benefit. Look for an opportunity to learn something out of your adversities or your disappointments or your failures. We can control how we perceive disappointment. We can take a seed of benefit out of that disappointment and plant it. Use your hip to dance with life. Turn adversities into benefit. Shift your negative emotion by looking for a seed of benefit in every adversity. One of the biggest benefits that came out of being fired in my last job before I was self-employed was that owner, when he hired me, he helped me conceive and believe that I could be a business owner. He planted both the conception and the belief in my character that I could be a business owner if I hit the targets. When I hit the targets, I believed that I was going to get ownership. And I did get ownership. It wasn't how I expected. He fired me, but I started my own company. I was my own business owner because the benefit out of the adversity of being lured away from a good job and getting fired was that he implanted conception and belief in me that I could be a business owner, and it worked. It happened. I became my own business owner. Find ways to look at negative situations from a positive point of view. That's turning adversity into benefit. Look for the positive in the negative person that you're interacting with. Ask them a question to bring out a positive response. Share a positive perception with them that will get them thinking outside of their negativity. Every time we influence others in a positive way, we influence ourselves in a positive way, and we affect our human interaction process habits to be more positive. Now, some days it's tough to get out of negative emotion. Some days we're triggered by all kinds of things around us. Simply go inside. Be aware of what's going on for you. The next morning's a new morning. Get in touch with your hip again. And know that you have the power of choice. You can, it takes discipline, it takes perseverance, it takes persistence, but you can change your thought to change your heart, your emotion, to change your intention, to change your action. And when you are acting and setting your intentions, remember the win-win-win-win formulas. In intention, everybody has to win if you want to attract big success. And the 4-win principle is very simple. I've been coaching in businesses for 15 years, working with the leadership teams to bring them together in mastermind groups to achieve their goals collectively. And one of the basic principles that I teach all business people, whether they're a mid-level manager or upper-level manager or an owner, is that 4 entities have to win in business. Shareholders have to win, employees have to win, suppliers have to win, and customers have to win. Everybody has to win. From an individual level, it's the same thing. I need to create 4 wins. I need to win financially. I need to win emotionally. I need to win intellectually, and I need to win physically. I need balance in my life. I need to have these things to have a life full of riches and peace of mind. So I need to win on many levels. And the way for me to win on many levels is through my intention to make sure that all those that I'm interacting with, whether that's a customer, a supplier, an employer, need to win. I'm here to support you to get into those habits of thinking, feeling, intending, and acting win-win-win-win. Riches and wealth comes in many forms. It was important for me to have balance in my life. So I set goals that as I was building my business, I never worked more than 40 or 45 hours a week, and I tried to take weekends off. So for the most part, I didn't work weekends and I didn't work evenings. There were days where I had to put in the long days, or weeks where I had to put in the 60, 80-hour weeks, and weeks that I had to work on weekends. But for the most part, I kept focus on balance, and I was able to do that for myself. And when I worked extra, I gave myself back extra in time off. We can make the decision to do that. It might take longer to achieve a goal when you're focused on balance, because workaholics, people who work steady all day long, they'll achieve quicker because that's what all their focus goes on. I break my focus up to balance, to work, and to leisure, and to spirituality, and to communications, but I have a balance in my life. I hope that you do the same, because peace of mind is worth more than all the money in the world. Don't rely on just yourself or only one mentor or just me. Use many mentors. When I was building my business, I accessed at least 4 business mentors, all people that were very successful in business. And when I had a challenge, I would phone all 4 of them. Some of them I liked what they said and I used it. Other times that same person would say something that I didn't like and I didn't use it. But I would call 4, I'd get 4 different perceptions, then I would line with what fits for me and act accordingly. Sometimes I did the right thing, sometimes I didn't do the right thing. It doesn't matter. When I didn't do the right thing, I turned the adversity into the benefit. You can do the same thing. Use many mentors. There's times I thought to myself, geez, nobody really understands me. I'm going to have to go this one on my own. Don't do that. Still run your ideas by other people. Get some guidance. You never know what might shift. Number 2 thing to avoid is don't give up. Sometimes goals have to be put on hold. Not a problem. There's goals I had traveling around the world, for example. I set that goal when I was a late teenager. It really didn't happen fully until I was 38 years old. But if I gave up on it, it never would have happened. I kept putting it on my yearly list. Travel to Africa, do a safari. At 38, I took my kids out of school. We went to Africa and we did safaris. The goal didn't happen right away. But don't give up. Sir Winston Churchill, who helped win the Second World War, said, never, 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 never give in. Don't give in. Don't give up. Find perseverance. Find persistence. Find patience. Find confidence. Find all those positive emotions that you need to succeed. There are times goals become unimportant to us and we cross them off because they're not important to achieve anymore. That's different than giving up. If something that you really want is important to you, keep putting it on the list. Keep the intention, the thoughts, and the positive emotions going. And part of positive emotions are patience. In part 2, I will give you a pal tune-up because everybody's our pal. Sometimes we learn, like I say, from people what not to do. Other times we learn from people what to do. But in either case, we can learn from our pals. Everybody's our pal. Fresh thoughts are like new spark plugs. They're like electricity. They spark the engine. Thoughts are constantly flowing, just like electricity. But like with electricity, every time there's electricity, there's magnetism. And that's kind of what emotions are like. So with every thought, we get emotions. And emotions are like magnetism. They're constantly circulating and flowing within us. They can be changed by changing the electricity, the thoughts. But they are constantly flowing, and they are common denominators with all humans. There's a spectrum of emotions that we all feel, and that tool, that spectrum of emotions, allows us to communicate and relate with other people on the same level and look for common denominators so that we can get common ground to propel ourselves together with. But emotions are also like the oil in the car. They're constantly circulating, keeping things cool. When the oil gets dirty, when the feelings get dirty, we got to change it. And we change that with thought. Just like in a car, you change the oil. Sometimes in a car, we need a new starter. To me, starter is like intention. It starts the spark plugs. It starts the oil flowing. It keeps the thing going. And every time we intend and act, we set into action that circular human interaction process. So what I want to do is give you a hip tune-up. A 9-step process to help you use the master key to riches, to unlock your hip so you can dance with your thoughts, emotions, intentions, and actions, instead of lay down, and crumble up, and be disappointed. But it takes discipline to change from the disappointment to the dancing. And I hope that in our 9-step tune-up, we can help you change some habits that will get your thought, emotion, intentional, and action processes moving in the direction that works for you to achieve the goals that are important to you. Use the mentors in the Find a Mentor network. And if you can't find one there, check out your website's resources page. There's hundreds of other websites listed. Do a Google search for another mentor, but use many mentors. And remember that if you focus with your mentors on finding some education so that you know what you need to know to achieve your goal, and you get your mentors to help you propel yourself to serve and to achieve at another level. You want your mentor to inspire you to act and to do it now, because not acting blocks success. And you want to communicate with your mentor, back and forth, some good thoughts, emotions, and intentions that you can invoke from them into your life so that you can achieve what they achieved. That's the best thing about mentoring. Mentors have that thought, emotional, intentional, and action process down. They've achieved what you want. You need to tap into their thought, emotion, intention, and action process and be like them to achieve what they have. That's why mentoring is so powerful. We can't learn how to think, feel, act, and intend from a book. Well, we can, but it's easier when you do it with another human. The emotions transfer. The intentions transfer. The thought process goes back and forth, and we get more thoughts than we get just from reading a line. So use many mentors. Watch the PAL Tune-Up. The first thing I want you to do after you watch this video is to watch the PAL Tune-Up, the 9-step process. Go out and make it an awesome day. Thank you for being here. Bye for now.